Hi there, I'm April Callis-Birchmeier. I'm a certified change management professional and project management professional, and I'm excited to talk with you today about navigating your change career. I think it's an important topic to talk about because many times we just sort of fall into our careers, right? Like we just sort of are floating along in the career, and we're not necessarily spending time thinking about what's next? What's around the corner? How do I navigate around this obstacle? Or, the water's pretty shallow over here. How do I navigate to somewhere a little bit safer? So it's important just to sometimes take a moment and pause and think about your career and think about it as the journey that it is. And so when we're first beginning a journey, sometimes we don't have a lot of options, a lot of choice. And so I have found that when I first began my change management journey, I began in house as an employee. I began by working on a large ERP project as an employee, and it was a great role. It taught me so much. I had been teaching communication. I had been delivering corporate training, but this change management role was really different for me because it combined all of my communication and training skills, along with teaching me about business process redesign, stakeholder engagement, how to work with sponsors. And so, this internal in house role in an organization, a Big Ten university, was just a gift to me because I was able to really learn. And the great thing about being an employee is that most times you have somewhat of a safe environment. I had a safe environment in the sense that I screwed up a few times. I didn't know how to do things all the time. I made mistakes. And because I was an employee and I was seen as part of the team, because I had a fantastic boss, I was able to learn from those experiences. I was able to be forgiven and move on and not have it kind of haunt me forever. And that was a great, great thing for me as an employee. I loved being an employee. And I really enjoyed the camaraderie I had, and being part of that team was just thrilling. And I think there's a lot of value when you are starting your change management career. I think that taking the opportunity to be employed by someone who has other teammates that you can learn from, that you can collaborate with, and that you can have as thought partners is just essential. I really believe that. I also feel as though um, I liked, I've always liked my freelance roles. So after I was an employee for uh, a number of years in that organization, I moved to a different location. And when I moved to that different location, I commuted for a while, but it was a long commute. It was really a tough commute. It was 88 miles each way, so it ate up several hours of the day just commuting. And I had young children at home, and I didn't want to spend so much time in the car. So I made the heartbreaking decision to leave and to pursue some freelance work in my new town. And that was enjoyable as well. The thing I really enjoyed about the freelance work is it gave me an opportunity to get a taste of what it was like to be a little bit more cutting edge, meaning that we were writing proposals and then moving quickly on them, um, developing tools right away, and really piloting projects in a freelance way that I was my own entity. And the interesting thing, though, when I think about this experience, was that I was my own entity in a team of employees. They were employees of a consulting group, and I was sort of their freelancer that was a part of the group as well. But the thing I liked about the freelancing, honestly, is the income. I really liked what I made as a freelancer. I thought I was well rewarded for the work that I was doing, and I felt very valued as a freelancer. Now, the hard part about freelancing, though, is that you have to find your own roles and you have to keep the pipeline full while you are delivering. So, as a freelancer, the way it generally works is you contract with an organization to be their change management consultant, to work as a change management professional on a particular project or initiative. And then that's what you're working on. So you've agreed to come to terms in as well as like around scope of the project. And that means time, budget, and resources, right? The three-legged stool around scope. Um, the the detailed work that you're going to do. And once you've come to agreement about scope and you've come to agreement about what you're charging for your efforts to help with that particular project, there's not a lot of guidance, which is why I think freelancing is kind of the last place you should go. But kind of the point where you've been very experienced, because I'll tell you the difficulty of delivering the work and marketing and making connections and creating proposals and focusing on ensuring your pipeline of work is full is pretty daunting. I'm one of those people that gets very busy working and doing the work. And it's hard for me to keep my eye on that marketing piece so that I'm able to continue to fill the pipeline. So I've had a lot of freelance experiences. I have several clients that I'm working freelance with right now, and I'm loving it. I really enjoy it. However, it does really require an attention to detail that I think is daunting at first when you first start out. And that attention to detail is really ensuring that your scope is well documented, that all of your time is accounted for, that you are invoicing when you need to invoice, that you are tracking all your expenses so that they are part of expense um, submissions, and also keep marketing and keep connecting and do the work, do the work while you're also doing all these other pieces. So for many people, it's a challenge. I've had a number of friends who've wanted to be freelancers and they've had one client to start out with, but usually after that first client is satisfied, you look up and say, oh, where's the next one coming from? And so that's why keeping the pipeline full is really essential, because you don't want to look up and wonder who's next. You have to have that in place. Otherwise, you can't stay a freelancer. You have to go become an employee again in many ways. And then thinking about consulting, when I think about what's the difference between freelancing and consulting, for me, I think of consulting as being part of a consulting firm. So I've been a senior change management consulting for a consulting firm. And so it's kind of both things, right? Like in one way, I'm an employee to that firm. They pay me and I work on their clients' work that they assign to me. And I'm doing the same type of work that I'm doing if I'm an employee to that client organization, but I may be doing it at a higher level in the sense that when an organization hires a consulting firm, that firm is bringing in their expertise, their methodology, their recommendations. And so, as a consultant with a consulting firm, it's different than being an employee because you have multiple clients. You might have 2 or 3 clients, maybe just 1 client. Um, but you also have internal responsibilities to the consulting firm. So even though I'm working in the consulting firm and I have 2 clients that I'm working with, I still have some internal work to do for that consulting firm. One year I focused on marketing and I built some marketing collateral that we used to advertise the firm. I think in that same year, I also worked on award submissions. And so I had created the award submission for an award for our consulting firm, which we won. So there were internal tasks that were very important, and they had to fit at the same time that I was doing my client tasks, which are more important because those are billable hours. My internal hours were not billable. My external hours for my clients were billable. And so balancing the two was sometimes challenging, but I really loved um, the camaraderie that we had as consultants. I loved that we did things together that were fun, and we had money to spend to go to a nice, retreat for a day to plan and to strategize. I really enjoyed the support that we received. There was always felt like there was always professional development opportunities available, and there was just a sense of being a part of something that was special and pretty unique. So I really loved my consulting career. I thought it was fantastic. And usually you are always busy. There's not usually much time where you're not busy. If you're not busy, that's when you work on external or these internal projects that are non-billable hours, because you're already a member of the team. And, if you're not out billing hours, you can at least be working on support for the consulting firm. So when I was in-house, when I was an employee, lots of forgiveness, lots of space for me to grow and learn, to make mistakes and to learn from those mistakes, and to also be a part of the team where we were all employees together. When I was a consultant at a consulting firm, we were kind of special in a way because we were going in, maybe 3 or 4 of us at a time, to a client. Sometimes we had 20 or 30 of us at a client. And so we were kind of a special internal team in the client because we would have, some professional development webinars or maybe lunch or something together as a smaller group, helping our client, making recommendations to our client, doing the work of change management for our clients. But it was always a special relationship with each other because we were consultants, not part of the client. And then when I think about freelancing, as I said, I freelance all the time now, and I do enjoy it. I enjoy the different types of work that it gives me opportunity to perform. So currently I have some interesting transformation projects. I also am working on a large systems transformation with an organization. And then I'm building out some change management training for another organization. So those freelance roles are enjoyable. But as I said, it takes a while to really get the hang of ensuring you are able to handle all delivery of what it is you've committed to and take care of all of the administrative side of things, the invoicing, the time tracking, writing progress reports, ensuring that you are able to pay other contractors if you have other contractors working with you, um, and really establishing yourself as a business in a way that can be very lucrative, but you can't let down your guard and forget to fill the pipeline. The pipeline has to stay full for you to stay in a freelancing role. So when I think about how do you choose, I think one of the important pieces is to choose what is next. If you're in an organization and your organization uh, wants to build something bigger in change management and you want to stay, that's golden. Stay an employee, build it big with them, or move into a different role where you can support them with your change management skills. But if you're in a consulting firm and you'd like to leave your consulting firm because you would really rather be a freelancer, that one's a little bit tougher. I have a friend who has always been employed. She's been employed by hospitals. And I remember one time she said to me, "Boy, I really want to be a freelancer like you are." And I said, "Well, the hard part about being a freelancer is that you're the only one to sign the paycheck. And when you're an employee, that paycheck is automatic and you don't even give it two thoughts." So once I told her that I had to earn my own paycheck and sign my own paycheck, she was not as interested in becoming a freelancer with me. Um, I think that it's if you want to move from consulting into freelancing, I think that is possible as long as you have systems in place and as long as you can start out with a client, you have somebody to start with, and you have the ability to generate another client through your pipeline um, when you're started. I think if you are in a consulting organization and you want to become an employee with one of your clients, perhaps, it's a little bit more challenging. Because when you're a consultant, many times you're coming in and making recommendations. And when you're an employee, you are hearing recommendations from consultants. So that can be a challenge moving from the consulting role into employment with a specific just one client. I think though, there's so many options available and there's no right or wrong answer. I know a lot of people who've tried freelancing and loved it and then decided to go back into an organization just because they didn't want to have to keep up the pipeline. I've known a lot of people who have moved into the pipeline world and are freelancers and don't mind that level of work because they enjoy just the opportunity to kind of pick and choose their projects and not have to uh, participate in a project that doesn't appeal to them in any way or feels like it's very dysfunctional. When you're a freelancer, you can make a decision to just go, and that's okay. You generally have a 30-day to 60-day window of time. You have to let them know you're ending that contract, but it's much simpler than leaving as an employee or as a consultant. I think if you really want to focus on your change management career and get yourself ready for whatever that next step is going to be as a change management professional, you should seriously consider earning your CCMP, your Certified Change Management Professional certification. The CCMP is at this point still exciting. There's not that many CCMPs in the world. It's very desired. And when you have your CCMP right now, you're a star. Um, in the future, I think that the CCMP will become the floor that we stand on. It will become standardized for change management professionals to have a CCMP. And then that next level, which is currently coming out from the Association of Change Management Professionals, is the MCMP, is the Master Change Management Professional. That one will be that next step up. So I think it's a great time to earn your CCMP. I think it's a challenge to earn your CCMP and something you can be really, really proud of to earn that CCMP. So if you would like to earn your CCMP and you want to have the ability and the experience of working in all different levels of organizational change management, please join us. We have our Ready, Set, Change accelerated training and exam prep starting on April 28th. So just a couple weeks from now, April 28th, we begin our 3-week program, which will introduce you to the Ready framework, help you completely learn and understand and be able to track and navigate the standard for change management, and will prepare you to take and pass your CCMP exam. We have proof that our system works. 98% of our students have passed their CCMPs on the first try, and we also have more than 125 students who've earned their CCMPs with us in the last several years. So we're just thrilled to help people earn their CCMPs. If you'd like to learn more about that, please, you can email me, you can send me a note on LinkedIn. You can also go to www.springboard-consult.com, and you'll see our academy where you can join our Ready, Set, Change accelerated training and exam prep for our April 28th cohort, which ends on May 22nd. And you will then be prepared for passing your CCMP. That's it for today. Thanks for joining me. Have a wonderful, wonderful week. And I look forward to hearing about your change management career. Take care.